What's up, guys? We are live without delay as well. This is a little bit different than what you're normally used to seeing. I was supposed to have a day off, and do other stuff and record YouTube and everything, but I really wanted to get some coaching in with my man BenCB, so I decided to reach out to him, and luckily he could make some time for me right before W Coop. And then we thought it's actually also I have to give a lot of credit to BenCB for this one because he said, "Hey, we can also do a live stream," and I was like, you know what? Why not? We did some uh, pleasing of the YouTube audience before, but you guys are my people, so we decided to do it live on Twitch. So joining me is the man, the mastermind behind everything that's Rage Your Edge. Welcome, BenCB. How are you doing today?
I'm happy to be here again. Thanks for having me, and I'm really looking forward to do some epic content here.
Nice la, nice la. This should be good. So you guys know that last week we did. Do I spoil it or not? We did really well in a tournament. It was a bounty builder, and Rage Your Edge is a few months old, brand new bounty course edition where you can learn everything about bounty. So I want to have a taste of that, and we're gonna see. Yes, there's no delay. If there is something audio-wise, if you want some sound to turn up, I can fix it on the fly very quickly. So please, if you're watching, let me know. And yeah, this is the tournament we have open right here. I am not sure if we're gonna go sub mode or not. We'll see how crazy the chat is. It's mostly gonna be me and Ben talking about the hands that we see. If you have like questions, especially if they're like beginner type questions, then it's really good if you kind of save them. We can talk about them later, or we can pick some out. But most of the time, it's gonna be me and Ben talking, and you can definitely wait and of course do whatever you want. So you see my screen, Ben, right?
I see everything perfectly.
Nice. All right, so I decided we're gonna jump in a little bit into the middle of the tournament. The Bounty Builder 33 has 5k starting stacks, and you start with 750 bounty on everybody, so we wanted to make it a little bit more interesting. And over here you see already the bounties. I have a 316 bounty. Wow, this guy has $826 in bounties, but we do not cover him. So we're just gonna go through the hands, and yeah, and then BenCB is gonna probably laugh at me a few times.
No,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
All right.
Actually, that's a good starting point. You mentioned the guy with 826, and this is something a lot of people totally neglect in bounty tournaments. If, let's say, you are in a close spot and you're not really sure whether to call or fold, it's always a good indicator to look at not only how many stacks you're going to cover, but who are the stacks you're going to cover. So let's say if the stacks you're going to cover actually just have a very, very tiny bounty, it's not really worth gambling. But now if you can double up and you can cover a huge bounty, it's actually worth considering to make a loose call or to make a loose raise or whatsoever, or yeah, to go broke a slightly looser pre-flop.
Oh, that's interesting because I kind of just play my stack and don't really think about that normally. And then just like whenever the moment arises, I'll see, that if I cover somebody. I guess sometimes when I have to make a light call on the river, and I know that if I call and I'm wrong and I don't cover like 4 other stacks at the table, I do play tighter than I normally would.
Yeah. No, but it could be also that you, let's say, you can only cover one more stack, but this guy has a big, big bounty, then you have a high incentive to make this call or this all in. But let's say if you win and you cover the entire table, but actually the entire table just has starting stacks, starting bounties, then it's not that worth that much.
All right.
Compared
Also,
to a situation where you can cover a big bounty, of course.
yeah. Yeah. Also, like, guys, I think that what's very important is that I read some comments in the chats too. Like, some guys said, why would this guy need coaching? Quent, I'm very far away from the best person in the world, and even if I were, because BenCB, our guest today, is one of the best tournament players in the world. Even if you are, Ben studies a fuck ton. He studies, he grinds, he comes up with new stuff. If you do not, you will fall off. So it wouldn't even matter if, let's say I was the best tournament player in the world. This would still be useful for me because I get a different perspective, I get somebody's take on it, and I can progress from that point.
Yeah. All of the poker players I know that are very successful, they study and they take, I even take coachings. Let it be in the mindset area, let it be in the GTO area. There, you always need coachings. So someone he thinks he doesn't need any coachings anymore, then he will fall off pretty quick.
All right, so let us start off feeling really bad. How
Yeah.
many times a week do you spend on coaching? How
Per
many
week on
hours?
average once
And
right now hours.
yeah, hours.
If I grind heavily, if I'm in a regular grind, at least 2 hours a day, I would say. Yeah.
All right.
It's but this combines reviewing hands. This combines also talk, not this generic bullshit talk of just exchanging bad beat stories and complaining how ridiculous these players from Banana Island are constantly sucking you out. Now, constructive exchange of hands and thoughts and feedback, working on strategies. I would say 1.5 to 2 hours. Right now, I'm not now for W Coop, I'm probably even like up to 3 hours to study, and then I'm mainly focusing on the grind. And I'm not studying that much during W Coop because I want to. If I'm outside the tables, I want to focus on recovering and just calming down and not bother my mind with poker. So I'm going to be fully recovered if I'm going to enter the new day. But if I'm just in my usual grind, I usually study more.
All right. Yeah. I completely hear you on that. I think it's also important that I make a joke, of course, time to feel bad, but it's very important that when you look at other people, when you look at other people that are successful, and you're aspiring to become a poker pro, you can't just use somebody's like life and time planning as a template to put on your own life. So you saying I study 2 hours a day, that could make me feel bad from a poker perspective, but obviously, I have my own priorities, things going on, and everything,
Of
and you have
course.
your own grind. So, guys, that's very important to you. If you're an aspiring pro, if you're looking at somebody's life, don't try to just simulate what they do. See what fits in your life, see where your goals are, and like spend that time relatively.
Exactly. And
All right.
also, I'm combining basically what we do here right now is also doing content. Or if I create a video course, if I respond to our students' questions, or if I have a coaching with a student, that's also doing content because you use your brain for poker related stuff. So
Yeah,
that's of course very beneficial for me if you have that sort of profession.
that's true. All right, let's jump into the poker. So I picked this hand because we have ace king, we have 30 big blinds, and we cover absolutely nobody, which is sad, 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 but we'll see if that changes. Can you see the raise size as well and stuff?
Looks fine to me. In these spots in general, when you are the covered stack, you always want to make it a little bit bigger because players have to defend more. So I really like your sizing. I think 100K would also do the job, a little over 3x, but everything between 100 and 115K is totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been experimenting a little bit more with a little bit bigger sizing 3 bets, because I thought also about what you said in our last video when we're doing the Sunday marathon. I thought about what you said that if you're going to be relatively stronger, you want to invest more money, and I feel like in this particular position, I have a stronger range, right? Like I'm gonna have stronger hands and just a few bluffs to balance it out, of course, but I feel
Yeah.
like here I want to bet bigger than I do from the cutoff and the button.
Yeah. Also, when you have a bluff, it really benefits from that big sizing,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
where he can't continue with pocket force. What's happening there in the background, man?
Ah, dude, I live in the ghetto,
Should
dude.
I be
It's
worried?
fucking. Have you seen my scoop, man? I don't have money for rent anymore, dude.
um, so yeah, I really like the bigger sizing here. Very often people are not aware how strong or how weak their range is, and they just don't pick the right sizings. I actually, but this is a little bit more comes into play when you have players on the table that are really um, like to gamble. I don't mind the flat call here once in a while, especially when your bounty is a little bit bigger.
Okay.
They're gonna squeeze a ton against you.
Interesting. So that you
Uh,
would do that on a tougher lineup table then.
yeah, and a tougher lineup where people understand the implications of a bounty. And especially here, your bounty is on average a little bigger, actually significantly bigger than, I don't know, it's a little bit bigger than average probably here on your table. So they have an incentive to go after you. So I wouldn't mind a flat, but 3-bet is fine as well, of course. I would never jam here.
Yeah, okay. Okay. That's all good. So let's see. So I just go to the next hand, I think, right? That I think I might have played.
Yeah,
Huh.
7-5 suited under the gun.
Yo,
BB,
mate.
3 deuce off. You can check the BB. Maybe you get a free play.
Oh, you're right.
3 deuce off. You never know.
Yeah, I do. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow, first sick read.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, leading here. I just think that I can lead a lot. I think that I hit this board. Well, I mean, he hits his board quite a bit too, but I think that I have a very nice stabbing opportunity here.
Yeah, I definitely like that. In a limp pot, it doesn't really matter who is the initial limper or the preflop aggressor and all that sort of shit. I don't like the sizing though, because it's technically just a protection bet. There shouldn't be so many 4x and small blinds range. Hijack can have some 7x, so I like the lead, but I think 20k is totally enough for 25k. Because you're still gonna start isolating yourself. It's just a pure protection bet. You want to make them fold Jack 10, Queen Jack, King Jack, get a little bit of value from flush draws, and maybe also buy yourself the position against a small blind. So that is something a lot of people also totally neglect, that not only the protection bet, but you're also buying position against a small blind if hijack folds, which is quite beneficial for the rest of the hand. So yeah, I like the lead, but a little smaller.
Yeah, so you're saying I make too much of a bluff out of it with this sizing.
Yeah, you accomplish it the same with the smaller sizing. I think if someone has an overcard and a gut shot, they're still calling, regardless of the sizing. You're just attacking these overcards.
Interesting. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. We get called, so not gonna be too happy about that. Probably check.
Yeah.
Check, check, check. And we win.
Good setup. That's so sick. And that is actually a perfect example where people in so many spots don't even have a bluffing range. I mean, for hijack, if he's not bluffing this hand, what is he bluffing then? Like, we both started leading 7x so often, and we represent so many 3x and 4x. He just bets half pot. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Like, that people are just so much afraid of a 7x hand here, and from his range consists of so many flushes. Probably no 7x, but he's representing flushes. And what else? Nothing. Like, nobody's expecting him to have to peel the flop here with ace 10 and 10 in clubs. Nobody of us would expect that, right? So if he has that hand, he should certainly bet. I mean, he should probably bluff ace deuce, ace 5 suited if he limp those hands. Something like ace king 5 suited or king 6 suited. Those hands he can bluff and mix in with his flushes. But ace 10, if he has it, is in his range. 10 in clubs, with the 10 in clubs, it's a mandatory bluff here on the river. I also don't mind for the small blind to start betting here on the turn.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Like, and what do you think about the flop for the small blind? Because he covers both, and one of us has a short stack. He has an overcard, like almost at least 6 guaranteed winners, winning outs. Like, what do you think about a check raise here?
I really like it, because our range, we still have so many hands that can't really stand against raise, and especially against hijack's range. He's not having 4-3 off. He's not 4-7 off. He might have some suited 2 pairs, like 4-3 suited or 7-4 suited. But other than that, he's not having 6-5 off. And small blind can have all those hands as well. So I would really like seeing him check raising. I would prefer, let's say, with a hand like ace 5, ace in clubs. This would be one of the nut hands, and then you can just go banana on every club run out. And also, even if the club doesn't get there, like, he's blocking all the 6-5s. And so yeah, I really like raising here with ace 5.
And I'm gonna stab this flop quite a bit, right? So it's like I almost feel that this guy is gonna be more weighted towards overcards. I'm actually gonna be more pair weighted. So by check raising here, he actually squeezes me in between, and it's gonna get me to fold a lot of 7x maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, but we win it. King queen small blind. So this is in the very next hand. Flat here.
definitely we want to take into consideration that he limps ace-10 off, right?
Hmm.
So how would you perceive such a player if he open limps ace-10 off?
That's probably his opening range is going to be a bit stronger. Well,
Okay.
because I think that he's going to play like everything that's in the middle or sub top of his range, that he's going to limp that. Like ace 10 is definitely like a raising hand there. So the fact that he limps it and doesn't raise, I think that when he does raise, it makes his hand stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree on that.
Um,
Uh, what would be your adjustment here in the small blind with such a read?
like normally, I think that if you have hands that can serve as like flat call or also three bet with like good or high blockers, I would feel that against this particular player, I actually want him to have hands like ace 10 for me to be able to raise and take it on a lot of boards. The fact
Yeah.
that ace 10 and maybe like hands like queen 10 suited maybe are not part of his range here, I think that flatting becomes better than three betting just because I can get in worse scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree on that. We should be very careful with hands like ace jack off and um, yeah, suited aces, especially with the stack size. We aren't that deep anymore. So I would, but he's on the other side. He also seems to be a recreational player, but he also makes quite big, almost 3x.
Hmm.
So I would probably mainly call fives and better, and the suited broadways and king queen off, and like ace eight, ace nine suited and better. And the rest I would just fold
Okay.
and play three bet queens jacks and get it in. But I wouldn't make too crazy of an adjustment. There's still this for every single recreational. They still have this randomness.
Yeah.
They suddenly wake up with, I don't know, king eight offsuited here in open race. Like this is just something I, as for myself, I just make tiny adjustments. But as long as I don't have like 100% proof or clear read, I'm not going to adjust too much. Like I make significant or a tiny adjustment.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, because it's interesting what you say. Like people do random things. It could even go boil down to the fact that somebody has King Nine offsuit as their favorite hand, or that they
Yeah,
won a big pot with
exactly.
it yesterday. Like the shit like that
Yeah.
happens. That's why I also, whenever I have a big hand against a fun player, but he looks strong, just the fact that people do random shit or overvalue hands, you should never make insanely tight folds against fun players. Or never
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
big word, but
exactly.
wow, that's quite nice. Check, check. All right, bet sizing.
Why do you bet so small?
I have a really strong hand, but I feel like if he checks this board, he's either slow playing or he doesn't, or this is just not a great board in general for him. The fact that I have the Queen of Spades means I really want to keep hands like 8 with a spade in, and I think that if I bet like 80, that he's gonna fold all of those. So, and then I also blow the pot in case of a slow playing hand.
You think the guy is going to fold pocket eights against the 80k bet where he called ace 10 off on 7-4-3 and it's a 50% pot without a draw three way?
Strong point. Um, all right, but there is gonna be some hands, right? Like I want to keep like I honestly think that if I'm gonna bet 80,000 on this board and he has like king 10 of diamonds, there might be folds sometimes because there is a difference now. He did open, he did make it 2.5x, and this seems like I think that in the fun player's mind, this board is relatively scarier to play than 7-4-3 in a limp pot.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Connecting with what we have assumed pre-flop, I just lean more towards the big bet because I think King 10 suited is more a hand they often min raise or limp, or it's a somewhat of a similar hand category as ace 10 off. It's somewhat connected,
True.
like high cards. So I would put him very often on these kind of like ace jack, ace 10 off, or random ace 5 off where he just wants to take down the pot. If he has jacks, tens, nines without a spade, he's probably gonna fold anyway. So if he has a spade, I don't really see him ever folding. So I just don't really see such a big difference in these two sizings, because I think his calling range is very unelastic. So if you choose 80k, it's pretty much calling the same amount of hands as if you would bet 48k. Yes, I'm on your side. I think there are a few hands with queen jack and king 10 type of hands, but there aren't so many as all the pairs with the slow played a6, and he can't have the slow plays with because you have the queen and spades, which is the most likely slow play.
Yeah, you make a really interesting point, because you asked me about pre-flop, I give you an answer, and now all of a sudden I'm including all the hands that I say that I thought he was gonna limp in his what he would, might be folding here. So that's a discontinuation mistake on my end.
This is where our mind tricks us very, very quick, and this happens to all of us. And the goal is to decrease that as much as possible, because not able to connecting the dots from pre-flop to river is why so many people end up being in pots where they actually don't want to be, or where they have no idea what to do. And they're on the river like, fuck, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Or they made a mistake because of giving you the opponent a hand or a range, which they're actually never going to have, because they would have played it differently on the previous streets, right? And this was just a very typical mistake that you say, oh, pre-flop he would limp those hands, and now suddenly you give him those hands on the flop, where we actually decided, okay, he's probably not going to have these hands in his range in the first place.
Yeah.
Super typical, super typical. And you can study as hard as you want, as often as you want. This will happen over and over again to all of us, but it's just not about always playing perfectly and avoiding that. It's just about trying to reduce it so it doesn't happen that often anymore. Or in poker, it happens less than your opponents, and that's the key factor to make money, just being better than your opponent.
I like that. I like that thought process. Don't punish yourself for it. Like, don't get mad at it. You know it's gonna happen. It's all about making it as little as possible.
Of course.
So I think that also, like, I think that's most important also for bluffing a lot, right? Like, I used to have that in PLO. I would, like, somebody would bet very clearly defining his range, betting like 30% pot, and I'd be like, holy shit, because of the turn in the river, I can really rep a straighter. I would pot, and then one of the sickos, Louty or something, would call me, and I would talk to him about the hand, and he's like, yeah, but think about, would you ever play this or that hand from the small blind that way? And I was like, fuck yeah, of course. That's why the bluff doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I remember so many discussions I had with, I don't know, Fedor and all the other guys, and the discussion was pretty quick when they just said, Ben, would you really play it like this pre-flop, or do you think they're gonna play it like this pre-flop? Like, no, actually not. Okay, time over. Next one.
Yeah, that's so annoying, because they're right. They're right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. He calls. Pretty beautiful river, and all right. So now we size up a little bit. Because I size up a little bit here because I do feel that if he's gonna peel with something marginal, like he's not gonna call with ace-x anyway anymore on this board, especially because the 10 makes it straight. I think he could hero call a 10 if he somehow has it.
Yeah, I also think so.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to call a 10x against 100k as well as against 140k. I like it. I like the sizing a lot. I think this is the minimum. I think we can go even bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. How big would you think you could go here?
It's one of these spots where if we approach it from a theoretical standpoint, it's, if you want to bet big, you're basically applying this kind of toy game where you say, okay, I either have the queen in spades or the 10 in spades, or I don't have anything, and you can just bet extremely big. Because then it's going to be really tough for your opponent. However, we're not going to play theoretical optimal here. We're going to play a somewhat exploitative approach. And against this opponent where we already put him a lot of spades on the turn, I just want to take all my money and throw it in the middle and probably bet around 180k, 200k. I think that's totally fine. I wouldn't overdo it and overbet or go all in, but I think everything between 2/3 pot and pot size is totally is good here.
Yeah, because I mean, it would, like, it wouldn't be necessary, right, with bluffing either, to overbet the pot here. So
yeah,
but like you said, we don't want to focus too much on GTO against somebody who plays like this.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Get fucked. All right, nice. Let's see if I
seriously, limping ace-10 off and then opening 9 at all.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's let's take a moment mourn the. Yeah, that's pretty inconsistent.
Yeah.
Which is probably good, right? In his case.
Randomness.
Yeah.
There's the good old randomness.
Yeah. All right. Jack and offsuit, can imagine I open it. Ace king under the gun.
Check that off. Yeah. Okay.
Wait. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Please tell, because like if I make a mistake and stuff that I
If
should open.
do you cover? You don't cover the big band, right? No.
No.
If yeah, okay. The small band is the player that's not
Alright.
peeping as much as the big blind. So
All right. Just for the guys that just tuned in, we're doing a live coaching session with BenCB. He's the founder, creator, mastermind of Raise Your Edge, and we're doing some WQ preparation. I thought I'd let you guys share into that, and we will be doing a live review of the 33 Bounty Builder, where we made a deep run in last week. Give me 1 second. I have to do some checking. All right, so let's go to Ace King. 2.2. I love this replayer, dude.
it's still a beta though. We're trying to optimize it.
All right. Okay, so we get 3 bets from the big blinds. I don't exactly remember what I am gonna do here, but I do like to mix in some calls here with Ace King.
His sizing is really weird. It probably is an indicator that he's a recreational player. And also, when you saw the guy earlier playing the ace-5 offhand, does it make you something like? Do you take a read out of that, or?
Sorry, what was that?
This was the guy with the ace-5 off earlier. You remember?
Yeah. So that
Would you
probably means
also
he's more on the
consider?
passive side.
Yeah. So I would probably just call and play in position, not being really afraid of getting bluffed that much. And the
All right.
guy's not even bluffing ace-5 in this spot.
Yeah. Also, I don't cover him, so if I cover him,
Yeah.
there's a little bit more reason to go for variance, especially against the 609 bounty.
Yeah.
All right. So
But his sizing is really, really weird. It's just, yeah.
Okay,
2.5x out of position.
I hope I flat, because I really like the flat here. Oh my lord! Just
Yeah.
90, gonna call. I don't really see a reason for raising.
It's the sizing, to be honest. This is something I cannot prove with math or anything, just based on my experience. These small sizings are either aces or kings, or just complete garbage. We're not blocking any open straight draws. We're not blocking any ace-high flush draws. I really wouldn't mind raising here and getting it in. I don't think he's ever doing it with king jack. I don't think he's ever doing it with king 5. I mean, it could be this random king 5 off. I don't know what to do. I'm going to 3-bet to 90k here, of course. But not that often. I really don't mind the raise, getting it in here.
But
just raising to that.
If you say, like, I think that people generally do this really strong or with garbage, why would you want to raise? Don't you want to keep the garbage in?
Because it's still quite a drawable board. I definitely prefer the call. I was just saying I wouldn't mind raising here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially when there's a bounty on your head and the guy just goes banana with ace queen or ace 10 and jams on you with a gut shot.
All right, now
I've seen that a lot in bounties.
Yeah, that's true. Also based on from what we last talked about, and something that I implemented from what you told me is that when my range is very, very strong on a board, my PLO brain tells me to bet very small, but you said, invest in it, bet big. So if you raise under the gun, the flop comes king queen 5, bet more than whatever 60 or bet 70% pot or something. So do you think that also goes for this situation from his point of view? Like, if you were this guy, what would you see bet size be on this board?
No, not really, because we are raising from under the gun. Our range is relatively strong, so we have 2 pair sets. We probably can't even fold king jack off against his sizing. We have pocket fives. We have all the monster draws, king X and spades, open and straight on flush draw. Our range is extremely strong. We can even just call aces and kings. There are certain players that don't have a 4-betting range against the big blind 3-betting range because it's a very polarized range and we want to keep in the bluffs and the low equity hands and want to play against the wide range in position. So for that reason, he has no incentive to bet really big here. I mean, you usually in 3-bet pots, you want to make it a 2-street hand. Let's say if the board is 10-5 deuce and he has pocket jacks, where he wants to bet 2/3 on the flop and then jams the turn.
Yeah.
And also bets like, say, if he has jack 9 suited or 8-7 suited, he just bets 2/3 pot once big, and then he's done with the hand. The benefits of making you fold all the potential floats on the flop, queen jack, king jack, ace jack. But here, it's somewhat of a lockdown board. So if he has you crushed, it's very unlikely that you're going to catch him by the river. If you have him crushed, it's very unlikely for him that he will make a better hand. So for that reason, he shouldn't really have a big betting range here.
Interesting, yeah. So he might have like a tiny range advantage, but he also has a positional disadvantage. So like it's kind of pretty even. So then you don't want to need to size up and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. All right. So bet, call. We see a queen on the turn. Bet 90. That's nice.
Min raise.
What?
No, for real. I really like these kind of spots to.
Holy shit! I never thought about that. Just like
Yeah.
just as you said it, I was like, holy fuck! Like he can't do anything good against that.
Yeah. It's these spots where if he checks, I definitely want to bet, but this is a spot if he jams the river very often or he bets really big, we want to leverage ourselves into calling. And here we get a little bit of value from ace high flush draws, 10x, whatever he can have. And if he has aces, like the thing is, we're going to call the river so often. So now we invest on top just 90k to freeze the action. And against recreational players, these freeze plays are so powerful.
Dude, that is I'm doing the old school series right on YouTube, and you see that a lot.
This is quite old school, but I think it's one of the most powerful plays you can make because they literally freeze and they don't know what to do. He's not going to bluff jam ace 5 here on you. And we can have ace 10 spades, we can have king queen spades, we can have 10-9 spades, we can have some 2 pairs. I mean, yeah, or king 10 spades, which we could probably not do. But from his point of view, there are a lot of hands where we have the nuts and we could play it this way. We can have ace 10 clubs, we can have 10-9 clubs. Actually, we should have all ace 10s here on this board and all 10-9s. We could have all straights.
So also, like even like let's think about his strongest hands, right? Like let's think about kings, or let's say jacks, king jack, king queen, queen jack, those type of hands, like really strong hands on his board. If we min raise, he's gonna feel like if I shove, I'm only gonna get called by straights, maybe, if he shoves and we snap call with a straight, he's gonna be like, oh fuck, and then his whole chat is gonna say, wasn't it obvious? And then he's gonna be tilting. But that is brilliant. I have never ever considered that play.
Yeah, I really like it. And it costs you less than having this fucked up river spot. Then he jams into you, and like from a GTO point of view, you have to call. And if he has his random queen 8 off, he probably has to call once again, and you just check the river. If he has his random king 3 off, or
Well, okay. So yeah, you're right, because if he bets the same sizing on the, but I assume that this is just also. I assume that if you min raise and he shoves, you fold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I see. Because now, if he bets 90, let's say he bets 120k, we're calling.
Oh my fucking god! Based on the turn sizing, I'm probably not folding. Like, I don't see recreational players betting that small with kings or queens or jacks. I think we block aces and kings, the most likely hands we put him on pre-flop. It's one of the spots where, let's say, if he applies enormous sizing, he sizes it normally on the flop, 2/3 turn jams the river, I'm probably just folding. But the turn sizing is where I just don't believe his story.
But okay, I understand, but the ace
Yeah.
five hand though, the ace five hand over here.
Come on, Alex. Yeah, you're too good. That's true. But it was multi-way. Fuck yeah. But this sizing tail trumps more than the read I had previously. This is just based on my experience. These sizing tails where unless he has ace 10 or 10 9 in spades, these
Okay.
are the only hands.
True.
We block king queen in spades. Other than that, I just
So give me a
his value
bluffing
range is so
range.
narrow. Random shit like 10 4 suited, ace high flush draws. You can have be messing around with ace 9 off. It has to be like super random hands here from the big blind because it's a very untypical spots you end up being in against recreational players. It's just pure randomness.
Oh
It's
man, I
literally
don't
pure
know.
randomness.
Ace nine off, fun player, three betting and under the
It's
gun.
whatever. One of the pairs here, 6 5 off, Jack 4 suited. He doesn't know. It's like this typical line of I don't know what to do on the turn. I bet small, and then on the river, I don't feel like I'm ahead anymore, and then just jam. I really don't mind the fold here. I think you always do fine. It's just where based on my experience, I had so many spots where people bet that small, especially recreational players. They tend to not have that often.
Yeah, that's it's funny because the small big all in that used to be like a staple easy bluff line on 2552. You just had like these periods of time, right, where just like a certain line just works against regulars. But
Yeah.
okay, so ETXNL is in the chat as well. Shout out to him because he's a massive beast, and he wants to know: would you also use that min raise line against regulars?
Against bad regulars, where no consider them as passive, or let's say I don't want to label them as bad. It's just for me, I feel playing confident against them. I know what to do against them, and that means for me, they're weak in certain spots, and I don't expect them to bluff shove on me. But probably not. It. I would say probably not because you want to keep his range wide, you want to keep his bluffs in, and it doesn't really make sense to have a raising. It's probably going to be shoving range on the turn if I want with straights and sets, where I'm not blocking for sure. With straights, we want to shove or raise. We can have some hands like Queen 10 in spades that we want to shove on the turn to a certain frequency. But other than that, I'm probably just calling my entire range here.
I folded.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
All right. Yeah, I that seriously like that min raise thing on the turn. I'm gonna be fully fucking implementing that again and balancing it for everybody watching.
What do you? That's actually something I also wanted to ask you. How high do you estimate the likelihood of this guy just I'm going to be on the stream, I'm going to make a random play here, and just
I honestly
bossing
think
around with 7 deuce off?
I think that it evens it out between people like knowing me, not wanting to make a stupid play, and people going for extra. So if they're, I usually can tell a lot by table chat. I know that if they're like, "Oh, Lex, it's so nice to play with you," I can't believe it. They're usually gonna be nice. If people are like, "You fucking clown, stupid old pro dinosaur, whatever," that's very obvious. But I honestly, I think that subconsciously I've left that whole part to just not think about, because then it's just going to be leveling into leveling, and I just need to keep it about solid strategy and make sure that people can't exploit me that way, and then I'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Cool. Okay. All right. So ace five suited in the small blind. We have a limp. I think I decided to limp along here.
Yeah.
It's 30
like
bigs.
30.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have 20, less than 25 bigs, I would start considering shoving. If I have less than 20, I shove for sure.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that there's a shove coming, but all right. So I call. Great. Big blind checks. It's we talked about this last time too, right? Where you're just afraid. You wait till to click the next moment thing, and you're just afraid of what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Flop. Check. Check. Bet. Call. Folds. 10. Check. bet. 2 big blinds, just call.
Same guy again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check. What about leading this river, actually? Now that I see it, I think, well, you know, he limps the button.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be ace-king, or, well, you want it to be ace-king. I mean, but the small bets kind of trigger me here on flop and turn to think that I should be leading. He's not going to bet a deuce.
It's not that we have so many deuce X here on the turn, to be honest. A few with the flush, so we definitely can develop a small leading range because we have more 2x than he has. But we're also not going to have that many strong ace X. We're also going to start raising, so to a certain frequency, some king deuce in hearts or 3 deuce in hearts. We can certainly lead those on the turn and mix in some busted flush draws. But other than that, especially the weaker flush draws like 8-9 in hearts, I would lead on the river. That really benefits on making him fold king jack, queen jack that he randomly bets. But yeah, against a fun player that's probably not value betting an ace-9 or ace-jack anymore, which also doesn't really make any sense. I like the lead just half pot, get the safe call, and just move on.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too because you don't really need to be balanced here, right?
No, you don't.
Yeah. This is one of those spots where you just can do whatever's best for your hand. You have something, you value bet. Exactly. You have a bluff, you bet bigger. Exactly. You know. Just an interesting point in between from Mr. Lego Face. Thank you for the dono. You said, could you ask him what he thinks about what if it's useful for a complete beginner to start with the Raise Your Edge course?
Let me start with inviting you to join our Discord, where we have plenty of low stakes players who joined the masterclass, and they can share their opinion on that if it makes sense, because I'm going to be very preoccupied. I think the more advanced you are, the better, the more you benefit, but I conceive the course in a way where I try to explain everything from scratch, yet go very in detail. So I think, yes, you will benefit a lot because the concepts I'm teaching, it's a healthy mix between exploitative play, yet game theoretical optimum, because in order to make exploit, you also need to understand the theory. If you don't understand how wide you're supposed to 3-bet in certain spots, how can you really know what means to adjust from that game theoretical optimum? So yeah, but join our Discord. You can ask in there, and people are going to give you honest feedback, what they think, if it's beneficial or not. And we keep everything very free and open, so everybody gets a good idea of what the course is about and what they can expect.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Kings.
Kings, interesting.
Very interesting.
He was limping pre-flop, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is like, if I have 25 big blinds, this could be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But he still has to play a pot super deep against a big stack.
Yeah, he should definitely lead.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of nice? Is like, okay, just for my, like, if you want to limp here, I would say that you need to have both bounties covered, right?
No, if he covers both bounties, he should never limp.
Ah.
Yeah.
Ah, because he just wants to build a pot.
Yeah. He always has the free will of winning a bounty, so he should never limp.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
Unless the guy is a super maniac, but if the guy is a super maniac and 3-betting, you can just 4-bet jam everything. Because even if you're 100 bigs, I'm just going to 4-bet jam everything. Yeah. Because he's only calling premium hands if he's 40-90% of the time. And then I still have 35%, 40% equity with a bounty in play. It can never be bad. I'm just saying, for this instance, when the guy is really a maniac that incentivizes us to start having a limping range, then I would also just play extremely aggressively back. But other than that, he should never limp when he covers both stacks. He should actually limp when he has a relatively big bounty on his head and he's covered by 1 or 2 stacks from the blinds, and he needs to, he still wants to play a reasonable amount of hands from the button. Otherwise, if you play raise only strategy, you probably can just only raise 30% of hands. Yeah. But by also mixing a limping strategy, he can VPIP around 40% from the button.
That's a cool dynamic. That's a good perspective on the dynamic. Yeah. I like that. All right. Alright, let's see if we play this one. Nope. 7's
Easy
hijack.
forward.
Flat. Cover the guy. 30 big blinds deep. Check, check, bet.
I like it.
Check raise. Fold. I just figured, like, I know betting this board, and Danilo is a regular. I know betting this board that I'm gonna get attacked, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, but that's okay.
yeah, that's okay. But I also know that I am gonna flat with some strong hands here too. Seeing some other stacks in the chip leader there, like what we talked about with the ace king as well, right? So yeah. I know that I'm gonna be betting this board with like jacks and tens, or sometimes even aces as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have nut flush draws, like 5s to 8s are clear bets, and we just forward to a raise. There's nothing we can do. Oh,
I called.
It's really at the bottom of your range. Like, I can't really think of a worse hand. I actually would prefer
King Queen
I actually would. Well, we're only with the back to flush draws, but it's also multi-way. So he's raising into 2 people. That means not only you are defending against the raise, but also the guy from under the gun. So with his traps that he will certainly have, it's also going to take like 5 to 10% away of the frequencies you're supposed to defend. So let's say, just random number, if you're supposed to defend 60% against this raise, you actually just need to defend 50%, because under the gun will also defend against the raise, because he also knows that you're going to step a ton, and then he knows that you're going to step wide all the pairs, and big blind can just mess around with 4-5 and flush draws. He's just going to jam his over pairs, at least queens plus, on his trapped ace-5 diamonds or sets. So 5 to 8 is a very easy fold here. I would even prefer continuing with, let's say, Jack 10 spades, Queen Jack, but also these kind of hands we occasionally 3-betting pre-flop. So it's not like that we're going to have King 10 and diamonds, or let's say King 10 and spades every single time. And King Queen off is also a hand that we only bet with the King and diamonds. So it's just 4 combos.
Mm-hmm.
And if you count all the 9x you have, all the overpairs and nut flush draws, you have actually very many value hands you can continue.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I'm looking at it too much of a vacuum. I think I'm gonna get check raise a lot. I call, but I should still have a bet folding range that is okay with that. Because I have other hands that I can defend that with. Like like you say, I'm way too low in my range. It reminds me of another hand. Fuck, I just had it, but I forgot in the marathon that we covered. Yeah. There was a hand there as well where you said you're just too low in your range.
And also with the guy too.
There was the jacks on an ace-high board in a 3-bet pot where another guy called me and you said he was way too low in his range, that kings is much better because of that, you know?
Yeah. Also the guy to your right, you have a pretty good read about his game. So, and I guess you also probably have picked up some other reads about your opponent. Okay, I mean, you're multi-tabling, you might have not picked up the reads we have right now, but I guess since you're a very experienced player, you had a feeling how to play the guy to your rate. You probably saw him with kings and giving up with ace-5 and weird 3-bet. So you have at least labeled him as a fun player. And so this is a table where I think your ROI is quite high, and it's just a spot I want to stay away. And I would prefer to continue with Jack 10 because I have more equity against his 4-5 spades or 3-5 spades he's messing around with, and with 7s. We can't really continue. I mean, we don't have more equity, but we have more playability on later streets. Because we're going to be crushed against his value hands. If he has a 9 or overpair, we have 5%.
Yeah, pretty much depending on him to give up on the turn to win the
hand. If he's capable of raising 3-5 in spades here, he's also going to fire through on later streets.
Yeah.
So
Is it an extra consideration, the fact that if I call this extra 100,000 that I don't cover this guy anymore, or is that like too small to think about?
No, it definitely factors the decision as well. And you're also going to be very close to the small blind.
Yeah.
As to the button, sorry. So you're almost even with the button. You lose one more pot, you're also covered by him. So now you're still in a comfortable position to against these two stacks. It's not such a big of a factor because both bounties are relatively small.
Yeah. Okay. Alright. So I call, turn as a king, he checks, I check. What about knowing that I'm gonna have some, like you said, some king queen of spades in there or something, or some king ten of spades sometimes, or
You have
king...
all the king X and diamonds, you have all sets. I
Should
would
I
probably
bet?
bet small.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
because he now, like for him, it's going to be insanely tough to continue with the 9 now. It's we probably, like, if we have 5, 6, 7s here to a certain frequency, I think we should also bet some of these. In general, if we stick to our strategy, I mean, we still have the queen jacks and jack tens and diamonds and ace high flush draws, and now we're supposed to bluff those. But it's just, this is a card that is extremely well for our range.
yeah.
It's just so good for our range, and this is
Yeah.
a spot. Yeah.
I mean, I wanna bet flush draws, jack tens, everything here, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, knowing like the flop, you see, like, because making a mistake with the wrong part of my range on the flop also leads me to the mistake on the turn of not betting it. Like, in my mind, I'm just like, fuck it, let's go to showdown, but that's just because I played the wrong part of my range.
I really don't mind the check because he might have 3-5, 4-5, and no giving up. So I think it's totally reasonable. But from a range perspective, but again, we're also gonna have queen jacks, jack tens, spades, maybe sometimes. It's a really tough spot. These multi-way spots can be really tricky. But I think if we stick to the flush draws, we're gonna be fine. And we should probably peel with a hand like 8s or 7s with a diamond on the flop. So, and we still should bluff with those and check back the other non-diamond hands, and then we should be fine.
Okay. Alright, check, win.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Yeah. The ace of diamonds is really good here, right?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go next sense. So king jack under the gun +1, we raise, folds. Cool. Nice. I forgot that could happen too. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, this guy again.
Yeah.
Yeah, small bet. You can pretty much bet our entire range here, 1/3 pot. This is what you can simplify, just king high. He has a lot of crap. We bet 1/3.
Yeah, I just always bet. Unlike high, medium, low board texture with no flush draws, I'll just always bet 1/3 pot, like always.
Yeah.
Raise, call.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay.
I guess for you, just bounty, good draw. We're just gonna get it in.
Yeah, just like no high cards to speak of. Don't really want him to peel light, like too light. Well, I mean, I'm fine with him peeling king 10 or something, but you know what I mean. Just don't mind putting pressure here.
Yeah. I think it's also a board where people still see bet way too much because he thinks he's a button. You're in the big blind. You have missed this board texture significantly often, and then you just keep c-betting everything. So yeah. In general, I also don't mind raising jack 10 clubs here and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Would you pick the same sizing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also like specifically against a fun player, right? Like I know that against a regular you would do, but yeah, this sizing puts so much pressure. It's especially looking at his stack. What the fuck's he gonna do? You know, he has to play really
Yeah.
honest. I feel.
Yeah.
All right. Do you call this?
Is he min raising?
Yeah.
How big is his bounty? It's 277, right?
Yeah.
He has 25 bigs. This could also be a fine hand to just play it as a rejam. 25 bigs now. In a normal freeze out, King 10, King Jack suited would be the first hands you want to consider here with a bounty in play. People still raise way too much. If you do the math, and this is something you learn in the bounty course, you can't raise that much anymore.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. Like, sorry to interrupt you, but I've had
sure.
I obviously haven't been able to dive deep into a lot of things over the summer because I wasn't feeling too great. But there's I tried to catch some snippets and do a little research on the bounty course. And what I've noticed and what I've been trying to implement is when you get to 20 big blinds, you should really stop opening hands that you're really uncomfortable facing action on. You know, that because people are just going to 3-bet you with whatever. So
Yeah.
I've really tightened up my opening range from these positions with these kind of stacks.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And against good opponents, you're gonna get into trouble. And I think this is a spot where too many players still open a hand like ace nine off or suited connectors and all that kind of crap. So I think it's debatable. I wouldn't mind rejamming it here against population, but you can at least go with a flat call. These suited king x hand against late position hijack cutoff button perform actually quite well.
Cool. So this fold is too tight, would you say?
Yes, a little bit,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But this will also be the bottom of my filling machines hijack. Against cutoff, I would also call king 7, king 6 suited. Against button, king 5 suited.
That's actually what you did to me too when we played 10k Bounty Builder in November. I raised the button and you called king 6 of diamonds in the small blind.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I made the flush, right?
Of course.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it, dude. Alright. Ace Deuce. Anything to say? I mean, I just want to know everything for sure. Like Ace Deuce against a guy with a bounty that I cover.
That's alright.
Alright.
That's alright.
Queen 6 suited. Can't imagine I play it. Nope. Under the gun, big blinds.
What against this Ratti guy who keep that in mind with kings, and if he opens the button or cutoff, I will probably 3-bet a lot. If he doesn't have the premium hands in his raising range.
You mean 3-bet? Oh, against this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, not with queen 6 suited, but just
yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Call, check. I'm a Terminator. I don't really want to raise like offsuit combinations like this because then I just start raising way too much.
Well, you can raise 40 to 50% hands from the big blind, so you need to raise a ton of hands. If you think that, if you consider that you're raising the top 20% of the hand, you need to fill up with 30% of garbage.
Yeah, but then, I'd rather add in some 10-6 suited, like Jack 4 suited, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But actually, this is something we have updated yesterday in the tournament masterclass, big blind versus small blind range. And the theory also has been shown that if you constantly raise too much of like 6-5 off and 6-4 off and 5-4 suited, your overall range just has too little raw equity. So you also want to mix in some raises with queen deuce off and jack 6 off and king 7 off and all these sort of hands as well. Because the problem is if you don't raise often enough from the big blind, the small blind just printing money by limping all his hands.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And these hands, of course, you have to be careful by not overplaying those hands post-flop. So the main goal is just to take down the pot pre-flop and somewhat hitting something post-flop, taking down the pot pre-flop. This is where the EV comes from. And it's still going to maintain a profitable strategy. And since you have the top hands in your range, you're going to raise like the 20-25% top of your range, and then you fill up with 20-25% of garbage. Yeah. And in practice, I would probably play very exploitative against 3-bets and just give a lot of credit, because people aren't really having a bluff three betting range from the small blind against the BBI raise. So I would be quite tight and just rather overfold against the re-raise. But you should raise a lot against small blind limps.
Yeah.
And the standard should be somewhere around 40 and 50% and of hands. And when you do some database research, it's probably around 30 to 35% what people raise on average. So you should limit a ton from the small blind.
Cool. Okay. I check back. I feel like I could have stabbed here.
Well, it's all right. I think you can start limping, betting a lot on the turn when he starts. Yeah, I really like it. I really like it. What would you do? Let's say if the river is not a 7, is a 9 or a jack. What would you do then?
If what is a 9 or a jack? Sorry.
If the river is a 9 or a jack.
Oh, I would definitely bet again. I don't think that.
Any card you wouldn't bet?
Maybe not. Ace, maybe.
Okay.
I think an ace I wouldn't bet. Maybe a king I wouldn't bet because it's too easy to hero.
Yeah.
But I mean, when it is a king, I can probably also value bet a 5 a lot. So there's two ways of approaching that, I think.
Yep. Would you bet an 8?
No, that's very similar in my eyes to a king.
Yeah. So we agree on, let's say, an 8, a king, and an ace aren't the worst cards to bet.
Yeah.
I think I agree on that strategy. It would also do the same. Also, club is really good. I think very likely he has pot controlled king deuce or an 8 or 4 and one and ace highs, of course, a lot.
All right, cool. Yeah, okay. I thought it was limped for a second. Yeah, 8-5 suited. Cover big blinds. Cover this guy.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a little bit loose, but
I mean, 60 big blinds deep though.
You're covered by the button. That makes it not the best open race. If you would cover the button, I don't mind it.
Okay. So it's more important to cover.
Usually I would fold it.
Yeah. Okay, so if you swap these stacks around, you can open it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting to know. Then I was looking at it wrong. Ah, we got punished immediately. Fuck. Okay, so a lot of the times I will check a hand like 10s here, and I do feel that if I'm gonna bet an underpair, it's good to bet an underpair while I still have 5 outs as opposed to when I have 2 outs.
Yeah.
Is that correct thinking?
Yeah, I would bet just to make him fold these kind of hands, like Jack 10, King Jack, Queen Jack, Jack 9 suited, 10-7 suited, whatever he randomly can have. Definitely would like to see a protection bet here more often, but the check call is also totally fine. But very often he's going to hit those hands, and you get a little bit of value from ace highs, ace deuce, pocket threes, pocket fours that I think will peel at least once, and then you can still check call the turn. But I think on the flop you just benefit too much of making him fold Jack 10 off and Queen Jack off, and also the suited combos. Maybe not necessarily with the backdoor flusher, but Queen Jack in hearts. Ace 10 off, ace check off without any backdoors.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I hear you. Yeah, when I see this, I thought, well, I actually think this is a good candidate for betting.
Yeah.
But all right, so we're gonna check call. Turn is a 4. We check. He checks back. Hola, señor. That's an 8. And what do you think about my bet sizing here?
I'm a Terminator.
Do you know the button?
Do you? I don't think so. Is that a question like, don't you know this is like this guy? Or
No. Just do you know him as a fun player or as a regular?
I'm pretty sure he's a fun player. Like I have pretty good memory
Okay.
for colors and shit, and I feel like he has a red circle around his name.
um, I like the bet against the recreational player. I don't like the bet against the good regular.
Yeah,
What
cause
kind of bluffs can you have with this line, right? It's
yeah,
like
okay.
it really smells like ace three or pocket fours or like maybe not pocket fours, slow play.
King Jack.
It's really
Sometimes.
tough. King Jack, King Queen, slow play or pot control, and all bombing the river, yeah, for sure. But against the recreational that can have whatever here, and we block his the. I like the bet with 8-5 for one reason, because we block his small stepping range, his like 6-5 that just wants to bet and protect his hand. But we're unblocking all the pot control King X, and he's calling them anyway. So I really like the sizing here.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I have him as a fun player, and I like against the regular I wouldn't bet here specifically also because I want to protect myself for when I have pocket nines, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Boom. God, it's still nice. This is probably also a direct evidence of the reason why I shouldn't be opening this when he covers me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, when he covers you, I think it's not the worst flat call. You can actually flat really, really wide from the button against the cutoff. In a normal freeze out, I would always fold, but when he covers you, I really don't mind. Because you're going to be opening quite wide into those two stacks.
All right. All right. Let's see if I make the same loose open again. Oh, okay. He flats. I isolate this hand. I don't cover this guy, but you know, I send him back to his basket the last hand, so maybe he's a little bit gun shy now.
I'm not a big fan of that with the read that he limps kings on the button.
Excellent. Yes, that's a really good point. It's a really good point. All right. Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. Just if you would, let's say you would make a note on this guy, right? Like I probably should make way more notes, but as soon as the hand is over, I'd start talking to Twitch chat and everything else. So if I have a note on this guy, can limb button strong, that probably also means I shouldn't be isolating his limbs immediately, right? With trash.
Not that wide.
Yeah.
Because you make a very loose adjustment here.
All right. Cool. All right.
Yeah. Getting a lot of playable hands here.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Do you remember an all-in situation? Maybe we can cover, like, because this is very interesting in bounties as well, right? These short stack all-in situations.
I have no idea, but I think that if we just keep going, I think that the people are very happy watching. Plus, I'm learning a lot of useful shit. So,
all right, yeah, for sure.
We can always like if we end up not getting during this session, we can always plan like a mini session and go over some stuff real quick to just do like hardcore calculations and shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, bets half pot. Interesting.
Against a recreational player, I find the bet totally okay. It's gonna wake up with queen four suited as well here probably.
You know what? I'm gonna open my stars because I know it's every single person that's on my table, so I can just look immediately up if I have him as a fun player or not.
Okay. Usually we should do a lot of checking here on this flop, and play with, like, we can have a small betting strategy and a big betting strategy. King queen, he can easily have ace queen, you can have tens five. So, and also the board is going to run out quite nasty. Like, let's say at any 8, any jack, any 10, any ace, we can't go bet 3 streets for value here. So a lot of the cards in the deck are not going to be nice for our hand. So, and it's only queen jack suited, maybe queen 9 suited, and also queen 9 suited, queen 8 suited. If he's a regular, is supposed to be 3-bet very often. So it's not that there's so many hands we can go bet. And since there's a potential that the board can run out quite nasty and we only have a 2-street value hand, you should either bet small or check. And I lean more towards checking this hand here on the flop.
Very interesting. Very interesting. That's not something that I would necessarily consider. I would just, I like my standard is just kind of bet and then just pick a sizing.
Yeah, if you very often, and this is a principle that also GTO follows, and you don't need to study all the simulations and the tools. Very often, when you're out of position and you don't have 3 streets of value, and your opponent can also have a ton of value hands, you should do a lot of checking. It's the same when you open raise from under the gun and under the gun flats or MP flats on these kind of Jack 10 high board textures where they can also still have overpairs and traps and all the sets and top pair, top kicker. You should pretty much check your entire range and go from there. Here, he's flat calling you from a relatively weak position, so you can have more slew connectors. Still, the value hands you're trying to get value from are not going to pay you out 3 streets, unless he has Queen Jack and Queen 9 or wants to be a hero.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely consider that. Alright, he folds. Queen 8, I don't think so. Oh, I cover everybody at the table now. Which I know for sure that has a big part to do with why I'm opening this.
It seems that the table is quite. The button is only has 20 big blinds. I think the raise is fine.
Alright, so we can also do like a hypothetical one. If the button goes all in for this for 20 big blinds, because I see some like high stakes regulars calling incredibly light for bounties, and I think I'm on the lighter side for bounties. I mean, I get flamed a lot, but I think I'm on the lighter side for calling for bounties. But would you go as loose as wide as this in your calling range?
What do you mean calling range with Queen 8 suited? Sorry, now I'm confused.
Sorry, if the button shoves.
Probably not. I mean, we can calculate this spot real quick and determine our. I can do it while we keep talking about the hand or about jump into the future further hands. And I'm going to plug in the numbers, and then we can see how his bounty affects our calling range. If you want to do that.
Yeah, we can do that when the situation arises, I guess, because then we actually do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we keep going.
All right.
Okay. But no,
All right, tell us, Master Ben.
Now I have to plug in the numbers.
Yeah, I understand.
So, but what, out of the blue, what would be your calling range here?
King. Let me see. His bounty, it's kind of like an average to lower size bounty at this stage in the tournament. We can't see how many people are left here, right? But ICM considerations, anything before.
I mean, it's 300 out of 500 hands, or so maybe like, I don't know, 100 left.
Yeah, something like that. So maybe even less. But I think that ICM considerations in the bounty builder. Let me look at the picture. Let me go.
Is it $15 buy-in, $15 for the regular price pool, and $15 for the bounty price pool, and then $3 rake?
Yeah. So also, I mean, look at the money jumps, right? I mean, I know you can't see it, but I'll read it for you. So 215th makes $43, and then when you finish 53rd, you make 73. So like when it comes to pay jumps, there's like almost no ICM considerations when you're trying to decide if you need to call for a $260 bounty, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, ICM implications are not really in play here.
It's usually like my understanding for bounty builders is that you look at ICM implications near the bubble, and then you kind of forget about them because the jumps are always going to be super small. And then once you get close to the final table, it becomes important to get to the final table again. So then you start considering ICM more.
Yeah.
All right, good.
The antes are 2,000, right?
The ante is 3,000.
Ah. So we have 2, 4, 6, 7 players on the table. You open raise to 44,000. Region size is 445921. Starting stack is 5k.
Yeah.
And this guy has 277 in bounties, and starting bounties $15, right?
Well, yeah, 750. You know.
So this guy has around 18 bounties, 18 starting bounties.
Yes. No. I mean, you start with 750 on your name. You know what I mean? Because
You start with 750.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's so actually more. 277. What is it? 0.35 divided by 750. So actually it's 37.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
How do we do it? Okay, let me see. So now you should be able to see my screen.
Yeah. So let me see how I'm gonna do that. Let me pull it up here. No, that's not what I want to do. So, can maybe I don't know if people in the chat can read this like this. Probably, yes. If they can go full screen, they can read it.
So we have a regem out of non-blinds, and we just enter all the details in here.
Yeah.
Blinds, buy into regular price pool, buy into bounty price pool, and the calculator already considers that the value of the bounty changes throughout the entire tournament. So if, let's say, there are 100 players left in a field of 2,700 players, the one starting bounty is probably worth around 40%. So we have 7 players on the table, so it calculates the amount of antis properly. This is our open race size, 44,000. The guy is shoving 445,000. Starting stack is 5,000. So number of start bounties. So it calculates the additional chips that enter play that we're basically free rolling for the bounty. Then click on calculate, and then we see that without a bounty, we would need around 43%, and with bounty, 39.5 or also 40%. So actually around 3% difference. So you can see his bounty for that stage of the tournament, yes, he has 37 starting bounties, but for this stage of the tournament, it is not that big.
Oh, wait, DW Stevie says he has 18 bounties on his head, not 37. It shows complete bounty in the replayer like stars used to do.
Sorry?
DW Stevie says that the replayer uses complete bounties like PokerStars used to show. You know, like what they did before.
Did they update it?
Yeah, now it only shows in Bounty Builders what you can actually win when you knock somebody out.
Well, but the thing is the way you calculate it. So now if we take what is his current bounty? 277, right?
Yeah.
And it starts with 750, right? It displays 750, the amount you can win.
Yeah.
So now you also can only see the amount you can win. On Party Poker, it's different. There you always see the full bounty. On Party Poker, it would be 277, but it would also start with 50 or on other sites. It doesn't matter. So
Party Poker, dude.
So here we have to consider that it's 750.
All right.
But we can do it for both. It doesn't really matter. Like you just have to make sure that you have to have the right number. So we can do it for 19. If the guy has 19 starting, it's very easy to find out. And then we see that actually the impact gets smaller and smaller. And now it's around 1.6%. And if we now take Power Equilab,
that almost means you're.
What range do you think he's rejamming?
Ajax suited plus fun player, so 8s plus, something like that.
Okay. So then we say we want to have, what was it, 40%?
Yeah.
So not really such a huge adjustment, and even and we actually have to call quite tight here.
Wow.
Yeah. And if it's 37 bounties, it's going to be, let's take it away. Yeah. Not such, again, doesn't really change that much. Just his range is so incredibly strong. I mean, nines also only has, I would assume he has sevens as well, and maybe sometimes he three bets aces and kings. Sorry, I put in ace jack suited. I was already wondering, that was quite tight. So let's say sometimes he's three betting not all in with aces and kings. So now let's see, 39%. Yeah, you can see eights plus, ace queen plus is here. And a normal freeze-out, it would probably be nines plus and an ace queen suited plus and ace king off we should call, or tens plus. But here, since it's a bounty, we have to call eights plus and ace queen suited plus.
Okay.
And for the stage of the
yeah. Does it matter that I just looked up the replay? I think this is around 20 players left.
Oh, it's true. Actually, then it matters. We can immediately see the impact. So if we go down to 20 players, let's see. It's not going to be super big, but it's definitely going to have some impact.
That is really surprising that we have to call that tight.
How many players? Oh, okay, it's 2,700 players. If it would have been a field of 500 players, then it would probably have a bigger impact. It just has an impact by 0.2.
Okay.
Yeah. It goes, 0.2.
Wow, so our range would still be eights plus, ace queen suited plus.
Yeah. And here you can see now, if it would be the beginning of the tournament, it's almost 2%. Yeah.
Bounty more important.
Yeah. Now you can see the more players are busted, the more valuable the bounty becomes, and the number decreases.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. I'm gonna go back to your screen, okay?
Yeah. You get all these tools. Oh fuck. All right. 1 second. What hand do we start? I pressed F5, but we'll be fine. King Jack, King Jack. Where are you, Queen 8? There you are. Let me. Do you see my screen?
And that's where people do a lot of mistakes, and they think, oh, Jack 10 suited is a call. But I mean, you're gonna be crushed so much, and even the pocket eights. I mean, this is a clear mistake because you can still wake up with a hand. Yeah. Wow, you would have hit your queen, man. You should have called.
Should have called. But just to be clear, like when you get the bounty course, you get all those calculation tools. Everything comes with it, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Awesome. All right. Do you defend anything if you cover a guy with 30 big blinds?
Nah, not unless the guy has a ridiculously big bounty.
Okay. Alright, button jack for offsuit. Can't imagine we're gonna fuck with that. 60. 275. Yeah, I don't know. I think the only thing we can do here is jam.
You could induce. But yeah, I mean, you could induce and just jam any flop.
Like, it's so awkward though, right?
To like 580k and then jam any.
I really feel like when you 4-bet, especially in the current meta where everybody peels 3-bets and 4-bets when they get like 3.5 to 1 or whatever, then I really feel like, is there a bluff? Is there really a? I mean, I know this guy's a fun player, so maybe I shouldn't dive too much into what would I do with bluffs here or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think his 3-betting range, or most players' 3-betting range, is very ace-high heavy, to a certain degree. And if they have ace-5 suited and just peel the 4-bet, or let's say also if they peel with Jack 10 suited, they're just gonna miss more often, and then we're just gonna jam. So yeah, I don't mind the jam. It's just I'm just thinking out loud here, and I actually wouldn't mind it.
So do you think that So you're saying that normally you don't really want to give people those odds, right? When they have 8-9 suited, but because of the bounty, you want to.
Uh, Kinda, and you're gonna be priced in on the flop anyway with the bounty in play.
Yeah.
That makes the whole thing completely different because the pot is actually effectively way bigger because of the bounty being in play.
All right.
The most simple play is just jam. But I feel like the guy might also start leveling himself. You ice raised him now 2 or 3 times in a row. Not in a row, but only 2 or 3 times. And he also wants to play against him. The bounty's quite big of Nutty. So he might think he just wants to ice raise him. So whatever what might happening in their minds.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Somebody's saying that I do not cover him, and he's right. I actually don't cover this guy.
Yeah, true. I also just saw it. I also thought you covered him. Wow. Yeah, true.
All right, so that makes it even more of a shove, right?
Yeah, then it makes it a clear shove.
All right.
Then, because when you 4-bet, he probably has to peel with 9-8 suited.
Yeah.
It's my dishwasher, actually. Okay, it's gonna stop in a second.
All good, all good. Yeah, this is a spot I'm pretty unsure of on the flop.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, the guy showed nines actually. The dirty poker guy, he folded
Wow.
nines.
You can have 4 9s there. I mean, we're gonna have ace queen, which is just your bounty isn't that big.
Yeah.
70 bigs.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I actually think it's okay to fold.
Okay, but then flatting is way better, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really see the point in 3-betting, to be honest, especially when the weaker players.
Okay, so this spot, honestly, I'm not really sure. I don't think that betting does much for me. I can't get rid of anything that's better than me. I can't get value from anything that's worse. So apart from like hands with a fuck ton of equity like King 10 or even King 9.
I totally agree. I think check back is the only way to go here.
Nice. And then peel?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. But then do we bluff? The 9 getting there is a little bit of a problem for me, right? Because he's just gonna try and go to showdown with ace 9 and king 9, which is hands he could bet on the turn.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, I mean, we have probably has like ace king or ace 10. We're gonna bet very often with 1 heart, so we're not having so many of those in our range. I don't mind a bluff. I actually don't mind a bluff. Also, the small sizing looks like a small jack or a river 9. A better 8 that bet for free showdown on the turn.
Yeah. And would you go like into the 140k range, or would you try to still rep like a possible 2 pair and bet smaller, or?
No, just 120k.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's fine.
Fucking pussy. Yeah, it feels I feel so weak playing this whole hand. Like if I was coaching somebody, I would almost tell somebody, well, if you're gonna play the hand like this, then probably don't open 8-6 suited. But
well, with the 4 deck you have, because of the stack constellation, it's always going to be probable open race here in this stack distribution. But yeah, you could have bluffed the river. Even though this situation was good because he would have called you with king queen, but there are just so many hands that are going to fold. And it's really hard to have bluffs because most of the hard hands you're not coming to the turn with. It's the same where if you just think from the turn, that was actually my initial thought. I was like, wait, Lex, you're gonna have all the flush draws, but actually ace 10, ace king with 1 heart, we often start betting on the flop.
Yeah.
So it's not that we have so many, and we probably have 7s and 6s with 1 heart, but those are 2 combos. You have pocket 10s, you have pocket 9s, you have 10-8, you have jack 10. You might pot control some queen 10s. There are just so many. You have pocket deuces. it's like, how do you balance it if you're not bluff 8-6 here?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, like just seeing it is a clear bet, and this is also why reviewing is so important, right? Like, obviously, you're telling me a lot of info, a lot of stuff that I didn't know or didn't realize or that I haven't learned yet, but um, you also see the value of it because I'm looking at this hand and I'm thinking myself, "Fuck, I should have bluffed there." So even when when you're at home and you don't really have a lot of people to talk to yet, or you're not in a community, you can still go over your hands and find out mistakes that you made because you don't always play your
Yeah,
A game, right?
yeah, exactly. You're living in a dangerous area, man.
Mate, it's either gonna be dangerous or super fucking rich, so that if anybody even shouts on the street, they call the cops, alright? Let's assume that it's a super fucking rich neighborhood.
Okay, all right.
Alright. But, oh wait. Under the gun, and then we skip the big blind apparently, because Rip Natty. Button, can't imagine, but we'll see. I've done weirder things, there we go. Alright, he jams. Oh yeah, of course, I open because this guy's a $900 bounty.
Yeah,
I mean, this to me this seems like a slam dunk fucking open and call, but
yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's no way we can fold this hand. I mean, this is huge how much money we can win compared to the buy-in.
yeah.
So
I mean, it's pretty much like if we knock this guy out, it's like a final table, like three spot pay jump
yeah,
almost or something.
yeah.
What do you open knowing that you cover both these guys? Do you open any two here to call it off?
I probably call, yeah, might be a spot where I'm opening any two.
All right, nice. All right, I like it. Punish this fucker. Ha! I remember that. Yeah. Oh, my bounty not so small now, is it? All right, so it actually does replay the bounties correctly. You see, it doesn't show 900 on top of it. Wait, it does because I only went half. Yeah, Stevie was right. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the most important thing if you do the calculation that I know there are more poker sites and they depend, some of them display the bounty you can win and some of them display the full bounty.
okay.
So, and what I also like about the tool, that's also what I did, that I try to toy around. So I, instead of 10 bounties, I give him 20 bounties so I can get a feeling on how the bounties are impacting the equity we need.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. And that's really important, right? Because if you have tools like that, it's, let's say you want to calculate an ICM spot and you punch in the exact numbers, you can teach yourself a lot by adjusting the opening range or adjusting stack size a
Yeah,
little bit to also learn from that because you're already punching in the numbers, so you can learn
yeah,
like 3 different instances from one situation.
yeah,
Which is what I remember what Phil Galfond talked about in an interview like 10 years ago or 12 years ago. Fuck, yeah, 12 years ago or something. And they asked him, like, how do you approach a poker hand? And then he said, that's the first time I heard it. You hear a lot of people say it now, but he said, when I'm waiting for somebody to do something, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do if he 3x's, min raises, or checks, or limps, or whatever.
yeah. That's perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly how you should do it. By the way, how long do you want to do it? Do you want
Whatever you
to?
want.
I would say we do, and we go until hand number 350. So in case we continue, we have a good number in mind where we want to continue for the next time.
That sounds great to me.
All right.
Alright, so here I'm flatting. I think it's okay. Like I flat the small blind quite a bit with with hands like A7 suited here or something. Other A6 suited, some offsuit hands, some lower pairs. I really like to have a stronger suited Broadway in there too. Also, he covers me. We're super fucking deep. I just think that out of position, it becomes a bit awkward if I make it like 200 here or something.
I actually don't mind a three bet. Of course, it's a little higher variance play, but you have a big bounty. He would probably call a lot, and ace six suit against his range. Um, you're just crushing his range. I don't know. You probably have like close to 60%, if not even more than 60% against his calling range. So I slightly prefer the 3-bet actually. These
Okay.
are spots, yes, it's higher variance, yes, you're fucking deep, but this is not a reason to not play those hands, small bet versus cutoff against his wide range a little bit more aggressively. The thing is also that it's a situation where he will open raise extremely wide. He covers the big blind, he covers the button, and you're in the small blind. So he can even open 10-5 suited here.
Okay.
So I mean, if button and big blind aren't too aggressive, like 10-6 suited and all these kind of hands. So he's also taking away a lot of first in spots from you. So in terms of let's say showing him, hey dude, I'm also here and I'm here to win the tournament. He might not open raise every single cutoff anymore.
Yeah, and that's interesting because that's a real thing, right? Like this, if you show up with Ace Jack and you just check it down on some random board, and people see Ace Jack, that tells them a lot about future situations and how they can play.
Yeah, I was just putting it into Power Equilab, and only the range he's continuing with, we have 59% equity, which is of all of the suited Broadways, King Jack offs, King 5 suited plus, the suited connectors, Ace 10 off plus. Against his entire range, he's probably opening, I don't know, we probably have, 63, 64%. So with such a huge equity advantage, I definitely want to raise here, re-raise pre-flop, or let's say I'm leaning more towards re-raising.
Awesome. Okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like one of those things where I felt very good about it, but then you realize like there's a different. Oh wait, one thing I really would like to know: sizing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, close to 4x.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
180k. The thing is, in these spots, you don't need to go that big, where people probably exploitively open raise a little wider given the stack distribution. I mean, not even exploitively, he's supposed to open raise quite wide. So he's
Yeah.
going to have a lot of crap, like 9-8 off, and just 160, 170, 180k is totally fine.
Cool. Check. 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 Yay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So again, just proves.
Yeah.
This just proves what you're saying. Yeah. It's like
You
I
can
mean,
have these.
obviously, even if you had fucking queens there, your thing would still be right. But this is like a micro proof,
Yeah.
right? Like proof in a vacuum. Kind of. All right. Let's see if we keep the lightness going. We do.
Really nice.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Check. Check. I check. I do think, looking back on it, that these guys with 20 to 30 big blinds are going to shove a lot of stronger ace X or ace X they're happy with. So this guy might be weighted more towards queen jack, king queen, king 10, that sort of thing. So maybe a double barrel here would have been better. But
no, I really like to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's just like there's too much stuff, right? Like it's too coordinated.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, once they check again, I don't mind going bananas. I think they should. But I expect you have to bet a lot of rivers as well, because they're going to have a lot of call fold hands. So call turn fold river, like 9-8, 7-6, 5-8 suited, 7x with spades, 5x with diamonds. And the problem is, on many rivers, they can have those hands. Like the diamond gets there, if a 10 gets there, can become quite tricky.
Yeah, I had this Kustenkind as an unknown and this STFN as a fun player, if it matters, but
yeah,
whatever. Fold. Yeah,
nice.
Okay. Yeah, alright. I really like that. Like last time, we're talking a lot about these situations, and I picked like a lot of the wrong hands to bet, in the marathon.
Yeah.
I really like that we're skipping a lot of that right now. And that we're just mostly talking about, well, we can do also this, I like this, but it feels like there's progression that way. Calls, bet, call. Oh, this is final table, by the way.
Ah.
Yeah, I think this is first hand of final table.
Okay.
Check bets, call.
Yeah.
Nine of spades.
10.
Yeah, that's it, right? Queen 10, Queen Jack, King Queen.
Weekends. What do you think are the value hands that heavy BT's coming to the row with?
You see, that's interesting because I think that, especially on this board, on the final table, I think that if he has anything, that's my thought process here. If he has anything that's 2 pair of sets, he's gonna check shove the turn.
Yeah.
So I wasn't worried about sets at all. Honestly, the only hand that I felt had me beat here, possibly 9s or Queen 9, and that's it.
Yeah, Queen 9, yeah.
And 9s seems much more unlikely, and so that's my reasoning. So I felt like I honestly think that he could, because my bet sizing is reasonable on the turn, out of position. He could have a combo draw, of course, with spades, and he'll call probably. But
yeah,
I have the ace of spades. I also think that if it's a flush on the river on this board, he's gonna lead shove a lot. I don't know. At the time, I remember this hand very clearly. At the time, this felt like a very clear value bet to me.
I mean, he also just has 400k left. So if you assume he's calling any king queens, which I think most players will, and then I'm just putting it into, he has all the 8x in spades, only down to 8-5 suited, and then he has all the 7x in spades.
Yeah. But what do you think about my thought that if he's gonna hit a flush here, that he's most likely leading the river himself?
Yeah, I also agree on that. I think same. So Queen 9 off. Maybe, yeah, 7-4 is also raising the flop. 6-5 in spades, like a monster hand.
Yeah.
Could have.
But yeah, but then he could also be shoving the river.
King Jack, King 10, spades, strong rare ones. Jack 10 spades.
Do you think he's always calling King Jack of spades on the turn?
Yeah, most people overcall flush draws, especially against half pot. You bet half pot, I think. 10-9? 10-9 is not possible. So let's see. So you have 34% equity. If he calls all ace queens and he has the range I was just assigning him. If he calls also all suited queen jack combos, you have 40. Yeah, I think it's still. Wait, we have the ace and spades in our range. Yeah, he definitely needs to hero some queen jacks and queen tens. So if he calls all king queens and all queen jacks, you have a proper value shove. And if he folds all queen tens, and I think it's reasonable. I mean, I'm not even considering that he can call queen 5, queen deuce. I precluded them all of this call. So I assume he's folding all queen deuce, all queen 5s, all queen 10s, and only calling queen jack and king queen.
Yeah.
And all flushes and straights. Then we have slightly more than 50%. I think ICM is for us not that big. So we have 51.6% against the range. I think it's pretty reasonable. So I think it's a close to very thin value shot. And you're like Veldhuis, so you might just be whatever 10-8. I'm going to call him off.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right, he folded. All right.
Maybe he folded the set.
God. All right, shove, call, obviously. This is like, one of those moments where you're just winning every hand and you're absolutely fucking stomping a tournament, that you just lose a hand like this and you're, wait, what? Like, you don't even consider the possibility that you could lose,
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so next.
What did he have?
What?
What did he have? Ace 4.
Yeah. Alright. 8-6. No. Button, perhaps. No. Cut off. I'm gonna check them all because I tend to play pretty aggro on final tables.
Yeah, okay. This is a really nice open race.
Nice. Good. Good. I'm happy to hear. Queen 8 raise. Alright, so that's it.
Alright.
Not bad. Yeah. So we'll talk after stream. Obviously, when we could do the next time.
Yeah,
I think I can say a sincere thank you that you're willing to share your time with us and your knowledge here live on stream and do this coaching session with me. I have definitely
my
written,
pleasure.
yeah, I've definitely written down some new tricks and stuff that, you know, like I think also for people watching, I think it's important when Ben tells me something about a specific situation, that it's very important to try to think and use that and apply it in all kinds of different situations. That you don't are that you're not too much in a vacuum. Oh, okay, so when I'm in the big blind with so many big blinds, I do this. You can apply it to a lot of different things, and that's why this coaching is so useful for me because this will apply to so many different things. Even that Queen 8 example of how loose I can call a big blind there, that is something that I will use when I have 10-8 suited and it's less big blinds and I'm playing a 2K against some sicko that I don't call it off too light next week. So yeah, huge shout out to BenCB. Guys, get on Raise Your Edge. It's the absolute fucking shit. You can learn from start to finish all the stuff that we discussed. All the tools are available. Everything is there. I will close out with Ben here and I'll talk to you guys more about
Yeah.
that. Ben also streams deep runs on Sunday once in a while. That's also over the Raise Your Edge channel. So you do want to check that out as well. I've been really enjoying those because you just see live what he does in his thought process. So yeah.
Thank you very much, and I'm already looking forward to see Twitch clips about you min-raising the tournament.
Oh shit, that one. Yeah, that's the one we're gonna remember. Oh fuck. All right, dude. Thank you very much. I'll talk
All
to you
right.
next time.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye. All right, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed that. Is a one-time payment or monthly? It is a one-time payment, and if you purchase Raise Your Edge, they keep updating it too. So you also get all the. Let me get this fucking headset off. Jesus Christ. When you purchase Raise Your Edge, you get everything that's updated. So, for instance, there was a moment where BenCB posted in Discord that people were shoving lighter from the big blind when you opened the button, and it was a 20 big blind shove. So what they did, they adjusted from folding King Queen to calling it, and you don't have to pay anything extra for those upgrades. Everything stays. All these guys are fucking tournament crushers. They play, they win, they crush. So that's why I'm very, very adamant about supporting this this content and their product because I use it myself. And as you see, BenCB is my personal coach as well, which is why it makes sense. And when you guys ask me, how do you study? Is Raise Your Edge. And that's why, you know, like I never try to push something down your throat that I'm not supportive of or that I don't use or that I don't like. So, and seriously, you can pretty much, they cover everything. If you just look at like, let me see, where's my OBS? If you look at it like Money Bubble, ICM, adapting 3-bet ranges practice, this is all for bounty builders. You know, you can do so fucking much. If you go to the tournament class, I'm gonna show you guys. Sorry, my internet seems a little bit slow, but this is one of the best streams I've ever seen. Wow, Goldstein, that's fucking awesome, dude. Thank you. Let me see. All right, look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is all the stuff. Where's my OBS? I can't handle not seeing OBS. Alright. Explaining ranges, opening strategies, flat calling and 3-betting, passive defending, playing versus 3-bets. This is everything you need to know. Post-flop play, playing in position, out of position, short stack play, ICM calculations, heads up pre-flop. Everything. Everything. There's bonus videos. I just implore you guys to get on that shit because it's never too late to start studying. And I have in my career at many times felt like, oh shit, I missed the boat. I should do this. Why didn't I install Holder Manager at the time? Well, fuck it now. Like I already did. It's never too fucking late to get studying. It's my pleasure, guys. I'm really happy that you guys enjoyed it so much. The course is super fucking legit. I would pay thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands for it. That's the thing. It's one of those things where if you could look inside, the course, you'd be like, yeah, fuck, of course. Like, I've gotten so many messages of people that have messaged me 3 or 4 times about it. They're like, are you sure I should get it? Yes, I'm sure. And they asked me about content and everything. And now they got it, and they just reply to me saying like, oh my god, it's so fucking great. I'm so happy. Would you recommend upgrading from apprentice class to expert? If you've gone through apprentice, then sure. Does this apply for live poker too? Yeah, it's just good, solid poker strategy. I'm really, really glad you liked it. Um, uh, it's still expensive though. Well, I mean, if you look, like, think about this. There's like 50 hours of study material, right? And then there's like stuff and tools. You know how to use everything. If something is like $1,200, you get discount. You get discount codes. If you want to use the discount codes, type RYE or RYE sale. You get $250 discount on that. You pay like $700 or $800. Where in the fucking world can you get 50 hours of study material from one of the best tournament players in the world for $800? I understand it's a lot of money, but investment wise, it's absolutely fucking nothing. So you can't look at that in absolute numbers, right? Like, that course will teach you more than any coach could ever fucking possibly teach you in that, because this is like, you can do this just in your free time. A plus content. Thank you, JRL. Can I get 50 hours from you for free? Definitely not worth $800 if you get 50 hours from me, Kappa. No, but check out the RYE commands. There's a sale going on right now. The bounty course as well. What he used to calculate all with the tools, everything that he used to calculate, you can get $200 off the bounty course. Really, I just can't implore you guys enough. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the subs also rolling in today. We have a new sub record. Yes, we have 4,512 subs. I very much like it. Yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Thank you for tuning in. I really enjoyed that you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, peace.